A piece of NASCAR history, the 1969 number 22 Dodge Daytona race car. This historically significant wing test race car was built and raced by Mario Rossi. The car, also driven by NASCAR fame Bobby Allison during testing at Daytona and Talladega in preparation for the 1970 NASCAR season, comes with a provenance rich in NASCAR history and lore, showcasing the behind-the-scenes political fights that occurred in the early years of NASCAR. Historical significance. By 1968, the advantage previously enjoyed by Chrysler's Hemi in NASCAR had been virtually eclipsed by its competitors. The seasons 1969 and 1970 were unique in NASCAR history, part of an ultra-competitive era known as the AERO Wars, when two of the nation's biggest automakers fought head-to-head for dominance in the sport. While track purses and bragging rights were sought-after prizes for race teams, car companies realized that what wins on Sunday sells on Monday, an adage pointing out the fact that consumer purchasing decisions were heavily influenced by a car's performance on the NASCAR circuit. The development of even larger, more powerful engines was starting to peak in the late 60s, with NASCAR's top teams running engines from 426 to 429 cubic inches in size and capable of producing massive horsepower. Chrysler and Ford were the leaders in this area and competed against one another for the manufacturer's title in 1967 and 1968. Chrysler taking round 1 in 67 and Ford winning round 2 the following year. Winged Warriors. Round 3 was in the works for 1969, but with engine size and horsepower now leveling off, the two powerhouse car companies turned their attention to aerodynamic design to try to squeeze even more speed out of their cars on race day. Engineers added several new features aimed at reducing drag and improving downforce on their vehicles. Modifications including a pointed fiberglass nose extension and a huge rear spoiler, or wing. The configuration created a totally new exotic look for cars on the NASCAR circuit. Dodge pulled out all the stops and unleashed the wild wing Daytona. With its pointed front nose and high rear wing, the Daytona put Mopar back at the front of the grid, and the AERO Wars were underway. Big Bill France takes control. By the late 60s, NASCAR President Bill France, sensing he was losing control with all these different vehicle modifications, began slowly implementing changes to the rules. In fact, France soon started tightening the changes being made by manufacturers, and his mandates were not without pushback from the builders. The rules are changed. The Winged Warriors ruled NASCAR competition in 1969 and 1970, but by the end of the 70 season, Bill France was fed up with the AERO Wars and the dominance of just two manufacturers. After almost 2 years of domination by just two manufacturers, France let it be known that the winged cars would be subjected to severe displacement limitations. France mandated that the aerodynamically superior cars could use a 305 cubic inch engine only, 120 cubic inches smaller than that of the other body types. Faced with the choice of running a mighty 426, 427cc engine with a different aerodynamic body, or a 305cc engine with the winged body type, most car owners immediately abandoned them and opted for the larger, more powerful engines to race in the Daytona 500. Rossi was upset not only with France's crackdown on the AERO cars, but with Chrysler's decision to throw its factory support behind Richard Petty. Rossi began testing a modified 305cc race car at Daytona. The race car is one of these test cars owned by Rossi and certified by Bobby Allison to have been driven by him during testing at Daytona and Talladega in preparation for the incoming 1970 NASCAR season. In a move by Rossi designed to flaunt both decisions made by France and by the other manufacturers, Rossi attempted the unthinkable. He brought a competitive Dodge Charger Daytona to the 71 Daytona 500 with the improbably small 305 engine. Unfortunately, the car driven by Dick Brooks was caught up in a wreck after leading 5 laps, though he finished a respectable 7th from an 8th-place starting spot. The race marked the last appearance of a winged race car in the NASCAR Cup Series until the Car of Tomorrow debuted earlier that year. Because of the NASCAR rule change from the 426 cubic inches Hemi to the 305 cubic inches displacement limit, this car was not raced. This car was visually inspected by Bobby Allison and certified as one of the test cars used prior to the 1970 NASCAR season. This test car then took another turnabout, and according to Flash Gordon Sprague, its next owner, subsequently was driven in 10 historic stock car events, with Sprague winning all 10 races. The only test car known to still exist, it is purported to have gone through a ground-up restoration. The certification of authenticity signed by Bobby Allison will go with the new owner of the race car.
Bobby Allison's Dodge Daytona test car proved to be too fast, even for NASCAR. The leader of the Alabama gang remembers it well.
It is one of the Dodge Daytonas from 1969, and it actually is a car that we used as a test car. You know, it's one of the ones that the equipment was put on later. You know, we ran some laps with the car to see which way they wanted to go. And just when things were getting really good for the Dodge wing car, NASCAR changed the rules, and so that kind of ended that program.
No wonder the Daytona was so fast. It was powered by a 305 cubic inch, 657 horsepower engine. Now, this 305 engine weighed 200 pounds less than the stock 440. During this time, stock cars were made to look like race cars.
This was modified, put a racing package to it.
Now, I got to ask you about this.
Yeah, thanks for doing that. My assistant crew chief was a sheet metal guy, and that's nothing more than a little pedal car, and he made the wings on the back of it, and they gave that to me.
Well, that's cute. I'll bet you this gets about as many comments as the other cars, because I can understand how this operates.
Yeah, can't get in it, but you understand how it operates, right?